What? 7? I was with Matthew until that point. Hang on, let's just get a reality check on this, see what the other angels think.
You're brave, aren't you? I don't personally think you should come in here and be as ballsy as you've been.
Matthew Peet enters the Angels' Den to pitch for £315,000 of funding for a new build housing project in Essex. What you're about to see is his pitch as it was shown on Property Elevator on Sky Channel 192. So if you haven't tuned in to the show before, it's basically a pitching show where budding property entrepreneurs enter the den to pitch for funding for their property projects. So the property angels are John Howard, Helen Chorley, Paul Mahoney, Nicholas Wallwork, and myself, Ranjan Bhattacharya. Let's see whether Matthew Peet manages to raise his finance, and let's see what advice and tips the angels had for him in his pitch. So let's hand over to Elizabeth Warburton, the show's presenter, who does a little bit of a pre-den interview with our pitcher, Matthew Peet.
Matthew, welcome to Property Elevator.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Where have you come from today?
I've come from Essex today.
Okay, not too far then.
Not too far, no. Hour drive, so it's alright.
And are you full-time in property, or tell us what you do?
Yes, I just did a degree in real estate, left that, and now I'm full-time in construction.
Very nice.
Yep.
I said, so tell us a little bit about the deal that you're bringing to the Angels today.
So it's a bit complicated, taking some planning permission, going to try to improve it, get an extra house on there, and then build it out and sell it on.
Okay, nice. And what numbers are you looking for?
I'd be looking for 315,000
Yep.
as a 50% investment for the whole deal.
Great, well best of luck.
Thank you very much.
And I'll have a little chat to you when you finish.
Appreciate it.
Lovely.
Cheers.
Matthew's coming in now, and a bit of advice I'd give Matthew even before he's come in is that giving us information handouts prior to him walking in would have been better. Certainly no cash flows, no nothing. Helen certainly won't be very happy. Obviously, presume it's a building plot, and he's presumably going to try and get planning on it and get us to fund it.
Important point, if you want to appear on Series 3 of the show and pitch for financing for your property deal. Now, what happens is, none of the angels get any forewarning of who's coming to pitch next. You come into the room and we don't really know who you are at all. But what we do have is any handout that you choose to give us beforehand. So what most pitchers do is that they prepare a handout and it should have on the top sheet all the basics of the deal, like an executive summary, how much money you're looking for to raise, what's in it for us, if you like, and some basic sort of assessment and summary of the deal so that we can see it all in a snapshot. And then any supplementary information, pictures and other due diligence information is most helpful. And when you do that, do remember there are 5 of us angels, so 1 copy each would be highly advantageous. So Matthew walks in to face the angels without having given us a pack of any kind, so we literally have no idea what the project is, how much he's asking for, or anything like that. So we then have to spend a lot of time teasing out just basic facts about the deal itself. Let's see whether Matthew manages to recover from this initial setback to secure any funding for his project.
So, shall we get him in? Matthew,
Hello.
welcome. Thank you for coming today to
Thanks
see
for
us.
having me.
Could you please tell us something about yourself?
My name's Matthew Peet. I see you got my photo on the TV there. So we're going to take some planning permission. It's planning permission for 1 new build house, and we're going to try and upgrade it and try and get a pair of detached properties. We're going to try and get 1 property and then build 2 properties. We're going to do this by trying to purchase, I believe the neighbour is willing to sell part of her garden. So we can extend the plot, bring the houses back, get 2 houses on there, and then we'd be building 2 houses instead of 1.
So this is quite an interesting little strategy and quite a little interesting angle that works up and down the country. Now, many people apply for planning permission, they get it, and then they realise the actual building out of that project isn't as appealing as it may have first seemed. And then, of course, a canny entrepreneur looks at the site with a fresh pair of eyes and sees that, well, if we can tweak this, if we can just attach this bit of land at the back or whatever to the site, we can actually do more with the project and it becomes more viable. A simple way to keep an eye out for these sort of deals is to go on your local authority planning web portal and look up planning applications which have been granted about a year or so ago, and then look to see whether any works have actually started on those sites. Now, if someone's applied for planning permission for doing some project like this and they haven't built out or started works in a year, it's likely that for whatever reason they're having second thoughts. May have run out of cash, they may not be in a cash position to proceed, or the original scope of the proposal just might not be viable. And on many occasions, a fresh pair of eyes can look at it again and see how, with a few tweaks, the planning permission could be reapplied for and made more optimal for a more profitable scheme.
And where is this?
It's in Chelmsford in Essex.
Ah, near me.
John's back garden, is it?
That could be fortunate, couldn't
I mean,
it?
it might be John's back garden. If it is,
he'll give it to you
can
for
we
free.
buy it for £30,000, please? But numbers-wise, the land I'm hoping to buy for 205,000, and then all-in cost. There's all planning fees. There's a seal payment. All of that all builds up. So the total, including the land, would be 630,000, and then GDV of 800,000.
At the moment, you've got planning for one house.
Yes.
Okay, and what's the square footage of that house that you're looking to build at the moment?
Roughly. More in square metres, 108 square metres.
You're making me sound old, Matthew.
108 square metres.
Right, okay, 108. Okay, yeah, that's good, yeah. So I'm a little bit confused. So at the moment, it's got planning for one detached house.
Yep.
That's what it's got. But
Yep.
you're looking to add some more garden to it.
Yep.
In order to get another dwelling.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's just go on what you can do, definitely do.
Yeah.
Because the rest is a bonus.
Yeah.
So what you can definitely do now is you can definitely build one house, and the value of that house when built is
450 to 500,000. If I couldn't get the planning permission, the improved planning permission, that's like my safety net. I would do that on my own, and then if I can improve the planning, I'd bring you guys in. If
That's
I have an
good of you.
investment,
Thank you.
And do the
Right.
larger deal.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I've done a few refurbishments before. I actually just completed on a new build today. My first new build I actually completed this morning.
Great.
So I've done one new build, a few refurbishments. I've helped out on extensions. So I've got a varied amount of experience in construction.
And what's your background?
I do this full time.
You do?
I did a degree in real estate.
Where did you get the cash from to do your first deal?
So you see there, the angels are literally asking the background of Matthew. It's all important to get behind the developer to understand how they think, where they're coming from, and also what relevant experience they can bring to the party.
It's all through family business. So
That's the best place to get it.
And then I built up. I profited on some developments, and it's increased.
Bank of mum and dad is always a good place to start.
Well, that's so they say.
So the 27% return on investment, explain that to me. You mean return on cost?
Return on cost, right. Yes. So it's not a percentage of
No,
GDV.
your return on GDV is 21%, right?
What I invest, and then my return on my money that I've invested, or the whole 630 that we'd invest, would get a 27% return on it.
Return on the cost, but your
Yes.
return on your GDV is 21%.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Clear grip on the figures this young man has, so that is a good sign. Personally, I think looking at the market right now, and you see the thing with new builds is they take time. You've got to actually build something brand new from scratch. You've got to put in foundations, you've got to build the whole thing, and that's going to take months. It's going to take this sort of project will take a year or so to get to fruition. And then the issue is what's going to be the market position at the end of that period in terms of property prices, in terms of the housing market, in terms of, say, whether the new stamp duty scheme has been stopped for buyers and all the rest of it. So you don't know. It's quite a long planning horizon. In this phase of the market, you could argue that it is more sure to go for more short-term projects. So in that respect, I wonder whether the margins on this particular deal for where we are in the market right now are just a little bit too tight. But let's see whether the other angels agree with that or not.
And why do you think you can get planning permission where they haven't done before?
I mean, they don't own the garden. The person who owns the site it's designed for his dad, and he was going to build out for his dad, but he's come under ill health and hasn't decided to build it. I drove past it, knocked on his door. He said it was right timing and he'd be willing to sell it.
So he lives in the neighbouring property.
He does.
This is his
About where
adjacent
I'm
land.
standing taking the photos, his house is right behind me.
Perfect.
Isn't that great, folks? You know, I mean, I meet so many people these days who think that you can do everything by finding something on a website or some online resource, but there's no substitute for knocking on doors. Real entrepreneurs get great deals by going out there, pounding the street, speaking to real people and knocking on doors. So congratulations to Matt for that.
Is the purchase price the 205,000 purchase price? Is that including the extra bit of land?
No,
That's
land,
just the existing plot.
I'm hoping to pay 30,000 for it. I've heard that I might be able to buy it for 30,000.
But you're paying for the plot for one property is 200,000.
205, I believe.
And how much a square metre, I should say, not square foot, square metre is your build cost?
So, I mean,
total?
on this project, I'm going to try and do 1,500 a square metre, but I would be project managing it myself.
That figure you've given me, is that because you've done other projects for that?
Yeah, it's
that
based
same-
on
the
previous
property.
experience.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. So what's the total build cost?
300,000, and then we've got a 30,000 contingency on top of that.
Yeah.
To credit Matthew, give Matthew credit where it's due, he's actually been very sound with his estimate on build costs. There are too many entrepreneurs who come on and they've completely got this build cost completely wrong and underestimated it. So he's pretty much spot on there.
And the resale is?
400 per property, but that's been, because obviously, you know, the times with the pandemic, I think the properties could be worth 425, maybe 450 a
But
push.
how many? I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. So you're buying. So the site at the moment that's got planning.
Yep.
Is £205,000.
Yep.
You're building one house on it at the
Yep.
moment, which is costing you £300,000.
I think that was the cost for the two.
That's the cost of the two. Sorry, the cost. I haven't really thought too much about the single house, because if I wouldn't get the investment to do the two houses,
You won't buy
I
it.
probably wouldn't be that interested in doing the houses.
Gotcha.
I've done the numbers on it, so if I were to buy it, and
It only works. What you're saying only works if you can pay the other 30,000 and do the two.
there'd be a small profit in it. I'd make 40, 50,
Not worth
60,000 on the house.
Matthew,
And
no.
This is absolutely correct. I mean, in most parts of the country, particularly for the, properties which are valued at this sort of level, if you're just building one house on the plot, it's pretty much a something for an owner-occupier to do, something for you to do if you want to build your own home. For a developer to get involved and make the sort of margins a developer would be interested in, you really need to be looking at 2 units or more. That's unless you're doing sort of luxury 5-bedroom detached houses at a very, very high ticket price. But at this kind of level, you really need to be looking at multiple units to be pulling in a developer's profit.
I mean,
Not
it
worth
might be
doing.
worth it, it
Okay.
might not. If it all
Right.
fell through, it
I
would be
understand
worth it.
now. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I understand.
I think that was my confusion, whether what's the permission is on the table that you can actually build. What you're saying is you haven't bought it yet, you will buy it conditional on you securing, basically doing a bit of site assembly.
Yeah,
Is that basically
yeah,
what
and
you're
try and
talking
put
about?
together a better deal.
Yep, excellent.
Okay.
Yep.
Essentially.
So what I'm talking about there is site assembly. This is a common real estate term. It basically means buying separate properties which are adjacent to each other to assemble a new site. So on the existing site that Matthew had, it was only feasible to build that one house. By assembling a larger site, by taking in the adjacent a sort of garden land of a neighbour, it suddenly becomes feasible to build more units.
Essentially, yes,
Okay,
exactly.
so that's why we're talking about the two houses as opposed to one, because it won't happen with one.
No, I mean, I'd have the money to do it myself as well. So
Okay.
I'd just do that if it came to it. I wouldn't have the money to build the two houses.
So the additional garden plot is to the side, so it affects
Yeah,
the frontage.
and that's 30 grand.
It's on the right of that photo, and then you can see the roads on the left. So it would be garden space, but it allowed me to
put two in.
deepen the houses and build two. I'm going to put in half 315,000.
315,000,
Looking for
okay.
315,000. And I have spoken to a planning consultant, and she's happy with.
And are you putting that in as cash?
Yes.
So you can see all the angels there, their interest is perked up, because there's nothing more interesting, if you like, or compelling than having an entrepreneur that's willing to put some skin in the game. Having some skin in the game, having some experience, shows a certain commitment to the deal and a belief by putting the money where the mouth is that they're going to make that a success.
First off, love the ambition. There's not many people that go straight into property development out of university. You're knocking on doors to find deals. You're doing the right things. So you're an impressive young guy, and that's always a good thing. People want to work with impressive people. So you said you've spoken with the planning consultant. It looks like is it 3 houses or 2?
I'm just building two. Your investment, 2 houses.
Okay, so it's 1 or 2 rather than 1 plus 2. It's probably worth giving us all a pack before you present.
Yes.
Yeah, don't rub it in, Paul. We've been through all of that. The guy hasn't got a pack. Give him a break. I think he's recovered reasonably well.
Because then it would be very clear to us all.
Yeah,
and it's
okay.
taken us a little while to get clear on what the deal actually is.
Okay. No,
So just a bit of feedback for next time. Because aside from that, it seems to work. So you're wanting 315,000 from an investor, and it would be 50% of the cash each.
And I would be looking ideally for a 70-30 split in my favour.
What? I was with Matthew until that point. 70-30? Hang on, let's just get a reality check on this, see what the other angels think.
You're brave, aren't you?
Yes, I mean half the money, and I'd be project managing the build. So if that
I
could
don't
work,
think you come in here. I don't personally think you should come in here and be as ballsy as you've been, Matthew.
Okay, I understand.
I think John was understated in his remark there.
But that's interesting.
I'm interested on the topic of finance here, why you need to fund it all with cash. Why couldn't we, is there an option for us to come in with our experience and fund this for you using development and land finance, for which your money would go far enough? Could we come on as the experienced investor with much less cash if we can use alternative?
See, Matthew's looking a bit puzzled there. I came here for some money. Yes, I want some experience, but I want some money.
Why are you not using finance yourself? Because I believe you could finance this yourself.
But Nicholas, how we fund the deal is really up to us.
I know, but I'm more interested why Matthew can't fund this
Are
himself.
we interested why?
The reality.
Notice the way I stay quiet and silent and let Matthew and John have their little tussle here.
I want to know why he's here. Why are you here?
Because I'd love to get more experience and have a partner.
Okay, so you want the
for future
experience,
projects
not necessarily the cash.
as well. I mean, I could go to a bank and they just give me the money, and that would be that.
Exactly. With 315,000 in cash, you can easily fund this deal with a land and development loan.
A bank wouldn't be as helpful as one of yous. I would suppose.
Especially one that lives near you.
Exactly.
Especially someone
Who's pitching to who here?
that's nearer your age as well,
Well,
like myself.
possibly.
I think that's pushing it, Nicholas, to be honest with you. A fatherly figure's what you need, Matthew. The total resales of the two houses will be, how much?
800.
800k.
And what's
Right.
your comparables for that?
There's a few semi-detaches on the street that were sold for 455, one sold for 496. Like I said, I tried to pull back the valuation because of the pandemic.
Right, I'm going to jump in and make you an offer.
Brilliant, thank you.
My offer is, I'll put up the other half, and I'll give you, we'll go straight 50-50.
Okay.
So you put up your money first.
Yep.
I then put up my money, be it bank funding or not, but I'll pay my own interest on that money.
What return would that be in terms of the profit split?
The profit's going to be about 200 grand, isn't it?
Yeah, 170, but...
So we get 100,
200
yeah,
mark.
so we get 78, so we get 90k each, don't we?
Hang on a minute. Is that John struggling with his maths there? 170. Let me just try that. 170 divided by 2. What is that? Maybe one of the other angels has the answer.
Okay, 50-50.
85.
Okay.
How much is it?
85.
Thank you very much.
There you go, 85.
So that's an offer.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's all right?
I think based on your proposal of a 70-30 split, that's a 51k return on 315 grand at 16%. For me, that's not enough for what it is.
Yep.
You could, I'd be wanting a bit more than that. And I think John's offer's fair. He understands the area better than I do, and I think he'd probably be a better partner than I would be on this project. So,
Okay.
Now, he doesn't often say that.
Honestly, yes. Thank you.
yeah. So I think John's offer is better than what I could offer you.
I won't be making an offer either. I'm with Paul that a 16% return kind of on what you're offering. That's what you're offering as a JV.
Yeah.
So the security on that is, assuming you'd set up a company together, so your security on that is shares. 16% isn't appropriate return for shares. 16% is more like a second charge security.
Yeah, okay.
So for me, that doesn't work. Even on John's numbers, it's 27% return for an equity share. Still doesn't work for me. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
I think that those two guys are missing a trick. John spotted the opportunity, and the opportunity, despite what John says, is funding it through a bank and us coming in and putting none of our own money in and being your expert partner. And then it's infinite return. It's not 16% return. You're highly investable. I don't fancy investing up in Essex. It's a little bit too far for me. And John would be a better partner for you on this deal. But I think you're great, and I think you would make a great partnership together. I won't be investing for that reason today, but good luck.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, Nicholas and Helen are basically dancing around the same point, I think. The key thing here is that for the bulk of the project, at least 60-65%, it's better to go to a bank and get that tranche of money from there, which any one of the angels can facilitate. The issue is putting in the element of equity that is required to make that deal happen. And that's basically what Nicholas is suggesting here. And Helen is saying that for that level of equity involvement, it doesn't really meet her hurdle rate. Same applies for me. I think you're very investable. It's not really my type of deal, but I agree with Nicholas. I would fund it in a very, very similar way if it was my area. I think you've got a great partner in John, and I guess as John said earlier, you need a sort of father figure, so I guess it's what they call banker mum and dad in a property elevated kind of way. That joke aside, I think Matthew really covered all the bases in his pitch. He had answers for all the questions, he had a grip on the numbers, and I think it was good to make an opening gambit offer, which was a little bit ballsy, as John put it. Yes, I did say it wasn't my area, and I haven't done deals in Essex. It's not really my patch. What I'm actually more concerned about is the profit margin. I do agree with Helen. I don't think there's enough meat in this pie here to get involved in, and particularly right now. The pandemic came up time and time again. When you're dealing with a project that involves a longer time horizon, then if there are any uncertainties such as the pandemic, you literally don't know how they're going to play out when you're at the end of the project and looking to sell. And for me, that's okay to take that risk on, but there needs to be enough meat in the pie so that if the unexpected happens and if your projections of end values don't exactly work out how you think they would, then there's enough meat in the pie to make it still profitable and still come out with smelling of roses.
Got one offer. What do you want to do?
Take the one off of them.
Fantastic, Matthew. Well done.
Very wise.
But congratulations to Matthew, who secured a great partner in John Howard there. So what did you think about this deal? Would you have funded it? Well, let me know in the comments below. Also remember to like this video. There's a whole bunch of these pitch videos coming up, complete with my commentary. We release them every single week, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified as soon as we release. And also, if you're inspired by this and you want to pitch for funding for your next property project, I'll leave a link in the description below. Click on that, register, and when we're ready to film Series 3, I'll let you know how you can apply.
Matthew, congratulations.
Yep,
we have a deal.
We have a deal, yes.
Who went with the deal in the end?
John Howard in the end.
Excellent work.
Yep.
Are you happy?
I am happy, yeah. It's worth walking away with something.
Absolutely, yeah. So what are the next steps?
Well, I mean, he said he's going to meet me at the site tomorrow, maybe. So,
Brilliant. So we're straight on it.
So straight on it and get to work.
It's been an intense day here at Property Elevator with more deals happening and a lot of happy developers. Unfortunately, not everyone went away with what they wanted, but they did leave with some invaluable feedback from our angels. I'm Elizabeth Warburton and you've been watching Property Elevator.